Okay. Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, Classic Non-Classics. This is episode number 1775 and Doubleshot number 1669. I have two trades featuring two wonderful ladies. Now, the first one is the finale for a trade series. Well, trade series and a digital comic book. The other one is definitely the finale for a trade series. Well, there's one more left of this one. Yes, let me take a look at that just to be sure. Mamma mia, mamma mia, mamma mia. Up, 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 up. Okay. Yeah, I'm just checking something here, but yeah. Alright, so the first one is featuring Wonder Woman, Agent of Peace, Volume 2. And this definitely is the end of the series. Yes, this collects digital chapters 12 to 23. Yes, this is the end of the Age of Peace series. Now, they published this book 2 years ago. Not this trade itself, but the actual series. I do own the first trade of this, which is some of the early stuff was done by Jimmy Palmieri and Manny Connor. This one does not feature stories by them at all. Nope. Yeah, they're not listed as the writers. These are the writers for these issues, and this is quite something. Now you might be thinking, has any of these writers ever wrote Wonder Woman comic? The answer is no, not that I can think of. These are your writers: Liz Eckerson, Ivan Cohen, Amanda Desbert, Danny Lore, Andrew Wheeler, Andrea Shee, Calvin Scott, Brian Hill, Tim Seeley, Dan Abnett, Joshua Carrico, and Christos Gage. I'm not sure what to include the end for. Your artists: Jose Luis, Papa Man, Aaron Lepsy, Maria Laura Shapiro, Paul Paliter, Isaac Goodhart, Andrea Rico, V. Kenneth Morin, Tom Dunick, Henry Presilla, and Neil Edwards. The cover art is by Simone DiMeo. Of these other writers in this book, I have met none of them. Yeah, I've never met any of the writers. I have met one of the artists for this book, Aaron Lepsy. I met him at Comic-Con about 3 years ago, I think it was, 3 or 4 years ago. It was actually just after the closure of the Death of Hawk miniseries. Yeah. Now, each chapter is mostly a standalone story. First one is Still Waters by Liz Eckerson. Yep. This is a standalone woman story, and by the way, Wonder Woman is still wearing her Rebirth costume. Yeah, in case you're curious though, she still wears this thing. Yeah, as far as I can tell, she hasn't changed this outfit in like 6 years. If you want to think of one character who still wears the same outfit even longer than she has, it's Flash. Yeah, Barry Allen today has not changed his costume in 11 years. Which, out of all the characters wearing costumes, he's the only one who has not had a change. Basically, Wonder Woman has had the second longest tenure wearing this particular costume. Batman had changed his costume a few years ago, so there's that. Basically, you can see this as basically kind of like a pre-Flash One story, basically told post-Flashpoint. That's her in our country battling a water woman. Yes, seriously. And that's kind of the first story, and of course you have her selling a peace thing. Yep. The second story involves Diablo and Cassandra Sandmark, who I should point out, though, post-Flashpoint, according to Greg Pak, he's the one who did this, he retconned it that because, you see, pre-Flashpoint, she was daughter of Zeus. Post-Flashpoint, she is the granddaughter of Zeus and the niece of Wonder Woman because Wonder Woman was made to be the daughter of Zeus. Brian Azzarello for you. Yep. And this is mostly a team story between the two of them. Now, as far as I can tell, this is the first time, for comic-wise, these two have worked together in a comic book since I would probably say Teen Titans, when they explored the backstory. Also, they have Wonder Girl wearing her late 90s attire. Not the outfit she was wearing pre-Flashpoint. Oh no, she was wearing like a black t-shirt with basically the W on it. Yeah. Really good idea. Them teaming up for this great story. And you have them wear like a black t-shirt, which I think is so hilarious. See Wonder Woman wear a t-shirt and of course switch back to the attire. Yeah, I'm not really sure why they couldn't have Wonder Girl basically wear a different outfit. Why couldn't she wear, I don't know, the outfit she wore pre-Flashpoint? Nope, she had to wear late 90s because Brian Michael Bendis. Yes, seriously. Now, in the case next to Under the Radar, we actually appearance by, from what I can tell, is Ada Candy. Because it's a blonde woman who is slightly overweight. Yeah, this is Ada Candy for you. Not the black slim woman. This is probably, in my opinion, the actual one. We kind of, course, have the... Well, first time when Diana met Steve. It's a really good tale here. Kind of looks like I said World War I, but... Because the biplane. But at least it's not, you know... Here wearing basically like him wearing a German uniform. Next story is a really fun one. Where you have basically Wonder Woman going to team up with Zatanna. Yep, great to see her. Yep. And these two have great chemistry in the comics. Oh yeah, definitely. I enjoy these two teaming up. And who to take on? It's this random woman with dice. Yeah, just a magical story. And who does this one, you might ask? This story is done with none other than Danny Lore. Then we have a Wonder Woman story by Angie Wheeler, which has her take on wolves. And teams up and basically has a story that was kind of, in a way, pulled a little bit out of All-Star Superman. And we have appearance by Cersei. Yes, this is Cersei. As she appeared when she last appeared in the pages of Justice League Dark. Mm-hmm. Oh, wait, that's not Cersei. It's Queen Tessera. Yeah. I think she was just like Dark. I think she was. Mm-hmm. Really fun story this one is. The next one is simply just... It's a Andrew Shea story. Basically a woman who meets up with Wonder Woman. And just has sort of a small adventure with her. There's really not much of a story at all. Fight Night is simply Wonder Woman taking on a Minotaur. Yes, seriously. Taking on what will look like a Minotaur for an entire issue. Yep. And basically have her take place at a fight club. It's okay. Oh yeah, and by the way, the fight club was run by Roulette. Yes, Roulette. You might be thinking, Roulette? Yes, Roulette. As far as I can tell, this is one... I think this may have been her only appearance, because I don't really remember her ever appearing like in any other book post-Flashpoint. Yeah, I don't really remember seeing Veronica St. Clair, who is basically her, doing that. Well, actually, no. She appeared in the pages of Catwoman. Ann Nocenti brought her in. Yes, Ann Nocenti brought in Roulette. And here's the thing. She has not appeared very much. Unlike her when she appeared pre-Flashpoint here, not very much. Like, after her story arc appearance in Catwoman, she's 33. She next appeared in a couple issues of Batgirl and Birds of Prey 8 through 9, and then 2 issues of Flash, and then this, and that was it. The Flash issues came out in... Go away, please. Thank you. In, well, January 2019. Come on, stop it. Okay. As in the case of Batgirl and Birds of Prey, that came out in April of 2017. So that had been like 2 years between 2 appearances. In the case of between Catwoman Volume 4 and Batgirl and Birds of Prey, it was a total of 3 years. Yeah, 3 years. And this book only came out just 2 years ago. Yeah, just 2 years ago. Yeah, it's kind of weird, though, the fact that they actually bring her in here, and this is her most recent appearance to date. Yeah, I like pre-Flashpoint, which she did a lot of really good stuff here, but not in the case post-Flashpoint. It's almost like DC just doesn't care to do anything with Roulette post-Flashpoint. No, not really. I mean, her first appearance was like, oh my gosh, like almost a little over 10 years ago. Yeah, and she's a creation of Jeff Johns. And then not long after that, she popped up on like Just Like Limited. Yeah. Yeah, and she had a pretty good period of time. She appeared in like Secret Files. I think it was Secret Files Origins number 2, I think it was. It was JSA Secret Files Origins number 2. That was her very first appearance. She also appeared in 3 issues of Just Like America. Appeared in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 issues of JSA. A few issues of Batgirl. 1 issue of Batman Bolt Volume 3. And 2 issues of Formula Just Like her last known appearance was in the Mighty Crusaders special. Yeah, that was her last appearance pre-Flashpoint. Yeah. Then it's like, okay, let's have her return 4 years later in a Catwoman book. No, seriously, have her pop up in Catwoman. I'm glad the fact they never change her appearance. Unlike other characters, they change her appearance. Not Roulette. Nope, still the same character. Like, even the same outfit, same dress. This long, this snake tattoo she's got. Just from her shoulder goes down to her thigh. Yes. Then you have Brian Hill, where he has, get this. It's called One Night in Tokyo. You have Wonder Woman working with Lex Luthor. No, seriously. Lex Luthor calls him Alexander. Excuse me. It's by far one of the most oddest team-ups I've seen here. Yes. And then we have another story. I think this is Dan Abbott to this one. We have Wonder Woman fighting freaking Black Manta. Yes, Black Manta. And I'm thinking this is the Dan Abbott story. Where she has her... Oh no, it's Tim Seeley. Tim Seeley wrote this. Interesting. An Aquaman title story with Wonder Woman written by Tim Seeley. Dan Abbott does a story where you have Wonder Woman team up with Diana Troy. Yep. Diana Troy. Who... Yeah, and for some reason they gave... Get this. When DC brought her into post-Flashpoint, they gave her Wonder Woman's original backstory, how she came to be, where it's made from clay. Not in the case of post-Flashpoint. Oh no, they pretty much gave me her... It's like the kind of swap characters' backstories, where how they came to be. For Wonder Woman, they gave her the backstory that was explained to Cassandra Sandmark. For Diana Troy, it's, well, Wonder Woman's backstory. Yeah, really fun story. I think Dan does a great job with the story. Yep. And then Josh Schuler's basically have is where Wonder Woman takes on, well, let's be Villainy Inc., comprised of Giganta, Cheetah, and Silver Swan. Yes, seriously. And then you have sort of like a a version of Scorpina appear in this issue. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Yeah, it's from the 21st digital story because it was actually it's the very next one, the penultimate story, because it was a woman named Phobia. Yeah, who looks like, appearance-wise, like the theme of Scorpina. Yeah, Phobia. A character who appeared in Blue Beetle. Yes, for some reason, the writer brought a character from Blue Beetle. And then, after a few appearances in Blue Beetle, popped up for one issue of Teen Titans, the relaunch book, and then appeared in this book. And after that, she popped up in Deathstroke Incorporated, that seems interesting to say the least. Yes, Deathstroke Incorporated, which appears in a few issues of that series, and that's been it for her. Yes, a character who is literally a Doom Patrol villain pops up in other people's books. Interesting stuff with her. This was her, at the time, prior to Deathstroke Incorporated coming out. They have another story featuring the Cheetah. Yes, the Cheetah. Because why not? At least she got some clothes on. Weird thing about Cheetah is when she appears in the main Wonder Woman book, she's wearing nothing. Absolutely nothing. Apparently the artist must have realized this and put her basically in a bikini. Yeah. Which fine. I got no problem with it at all. And that's the story by Crystal's Gauge Hunting Ground. Pretty good stuff here. I'm going to give this book roughly a 9.5 out of 10. It's a really good series. Am I shocked? Am I sad the fact to see a series go? Not really, no, because, well, it was needed for a period of time and there's no reason for it anymore. It's fine. I have no problem with it at all. Do I think DC should do another anthology book alongside Wonder Woman? Yes, they should, but not necessarily this one. Not necessarily final thoughts. It's just an anthology book. That's simply all it is. This one we'll get final thoughts for. We have Domino Volume 2, Soldier of Fortune. This is basically issues 7 through 10 of Domino Volume 3 in the annual. Yes, the final issues of Domino. The book that was canceled after only 10 issues. 10. And I still think, though, okay, Gail Simone comes back to this company. First time in 14 years. Does this book a miniseries. And that's it. That's all Gail Simone does is this one book. Yeah. And the first thing that she does in here. By the way, Greg Land, surprisingly, if you think, though, who does the cover art here? Greg Land only does the annual. He does not do the final few issues. Nope, that's done by Gang Huck Lum. He does the interior art for those issues. Now, as for the main issues, the cover art for that one. The interior for 7 through 8 is David Bullitt, who does also issue 9 with Michael Scheffler. The final issue is done by David Bullitt, Michael Scheffler, Alberto Albuquerque, and Anthony Piper. The Domino annual features various stories. And here's the weird thing, though. Only one of them is written by one of her creators, Fabian Nicieza. The stories in here for the annual, which, by the way, that's the first thing you see here, is the annual. Yeah, for some reason, put the annual first. I think because it was published for issue 6 and 7, which seems kind of odd, but okay. The opening story, which is Dead, Drunk, and Dry Gutch, that's done by the series' regular writer, Gail Simone, with Victor Abas as the artist. Good Fight is done by one of her co-creators, Fabian Nicieza, along with Juan Guden as the artist. You have Rebound done by Dennis Hopeless and Leonard Kirkland the artwork. Domino in Reject is done by Leah Williams. Yes, Leah Williams does this one of her very few comics she worked on. Currently, she doesn't work on Marvel anymore. Currently, she does basically Domino Rejects, and Saturdays are for Body Count. You have Michael Scheffler, who's actually the tier artist of issue 9 and 10, doing artwork for that one. Natasha Budos, who does the artwork for Domino. Yes. Now, Weirdly enough, this is Domino's first and only annual to date. Yeah, her only one. Yes, you might be thinking of why in the world there hasn't been any other books, any annuals by her. This book for her. Just cuz. Oh, by the way, with this, there's not much left for Leah Williams. I mean, X Factor's done. Trial Magneto. Oh, she's working on Exterminators. So that. Oh yeah, that's a new book she's working on. That's interesting. Yes, I'm actually quite surprised she's actually doing this book, especially as Trial Magneto ended back in December, and this book's coming in July. So this is the first book in 7 months featuring her work on it. So currently, aside from this book, like I said, it's just X-Men Trial Magneto, X Factor, Empire X-Men, The Amazing Mary Jane, and that's pretty much been. Oh yeah, I also did work on the X-Men Gold Annual. So this is not many books left for her. As for series per se, the only ones left are Age of X-Men: The Extremis, the giant miniseries from War of the Realms, Gwenpool Strikes Back, and that's it. Those are a few miniseries to worry about for her. If you're curious to how many ongoing series she's worked on, as of currently, she's only worked on 2, just Amazing Mary Jane and X Factor. And that is it. Yep. Now, as for the annuals themselves, well, the first story is basically Domino in a completely different attire, which reminds me of the outfit from the Natalie Portman Domino movie. Yeah, that's what the outfit reminds me of. And she's here with one member of her posse. Yeah, just her having fun. With Diamondback, who's also part of it too. Yeah, and then we have The Good Fight, which basically features her and Cable, who are in a freaking bathtub together, which, yeah, it's awesome, given the fact these two have slept together multiple times. Yeah, it's great to see Cable again. Yeah, my only guess is the reason why they feature Cable. Well, this story is done by Fabian Aziz. He did help create Domino, so it was nice they featured her. And the other reason why that he featured Cable, because according to him, he wrote Cable the most. Out of all the writers of Marvel Comics, he wrote Cable the most. He wrote more than Chris Claremont, even more than Rob Liefeld. Yeah, really fun story for her, him, and then of course you have basically that after aside from team up with Cable in that story. In the next story, you have her team with Colossus of all able. Yes, Colossus, a man who she has slept with in the Cable and X-Force series. And they have her at the school where we have appearance by Bling. Yes, a character who is very rarely featured anymore. Yes, her appearances are so scarce. Like, my gosh. This also has the return of Stacy X. Yes, who is at this point depowered. Yes, I'm like, that's interesting. I would have never suspected to see an appearance by Stacy X. Because this is the Mindful Mutant appearances. Yes. Stacy X, who has been pretty much been depowered, although she's basically got powers back now. Yes. Now you're probably thinking like, okay, what was her most recent part of this book? She appeared in 2 issues of Vengeance. Yes, issue 6 that came out in 2011. Yes, 2011. This annual came out in 2018. This was her first appearance in 7 years. Excuse me. After this story, she made 2 appearances, and that's it. And you're thinking, really? That's it? Yes, seriously. I mean, she's a Chuck Austin. I think she's a creation of Chuck Austin, I'm mistaken. Is she Chuck Austin? No, it's Joe Kay's Tom Rooney. And, like, she appears in Kenny X-Men for a brief period of time, then she leaves during Chuck Austin's run. And she pops up in Generation M, appear a couple of Marvel Universe at the end. New Mutants, which after issue 16, which when she left the group. Her next appearance after that was back in 2008. Vengeance, the first issue of Vengeance, that came out in 20, the first appearance in 3 years. So it's interesting, though, the fact that she returns here first time in 7 years, and then she makes 2 appearances after this. No, seriously. That's what they did with the character. 2 appearances. That was it. Do not know why. It's just that it's basically this. You also have a character named Thumbelina. Yes, a Rob Liefeld character. That's not a joke. She seriously, basically, is a Rob Liefeld character. Yeah. As the other characters here, we have Toad, Nightcrawler, implementing Kane, who is a creation of Alan Davis and Chris Claremont. He's an ex-Excalibur character. Like, that's interesting. You have Dupe, Beak, yes, Beak, who is a Grant Morrison character and also covered Ethan and Skyver. Yeah, here's the weird thing about him. It's like, he actually gets a good amount of screen time in books. I mean, he's made 80 appearances in 21 years. No, seriously. And it seems like the wrapped up New X-Men. He got moved over to Exiles. After the end of that book, he was moved to had a couple appearances after that, the New Warriors. Appeared in the miniseries Vengeance, all 6 issues. Appeared in 2 issues of X-Men. Like, before this book, she appeared in X-Men Blue. He appeared in X-Men Blue for like 1 issue. And then after this, he appeared in X-Men Blue 36. Icon X-Men Volume 5, number 9. Age of X Mixed Man, Next Gen, number 2. Cosmic Ghost of Marvel History, number 3. A few issues of New Mutants, and an issue of Women in Marvel, number 1, which came out just last year. And sadly, that's been it for the character. Only a small handful of appearances for him. Yep. Good story here. And then for 7, basically you have just, by the way, love these picture things. Reminds you of like classic mood posters. You have her just go gambling. By the way, love her shirt here is a clear reference to basically Cable. Like, it's on this page here, figure what the thing says. It says, my boyfriend was in X-Force and said all he got me was his lousy t-shirt. That's a reference to Cable, which I find to be so hilarious. Yeah, because of course. Yeah, and then of course there's this artifact they're looking for something. And they're attacked by, look like these various creatures. Look like to be vampires. I've taken them out. You ever swear? And we see this box. We're thinking, what's in the box? And it's... who's in the box, you might ask? Well, it's Michael Morbius. Yes, Michael Morbius. When I read this a few years ago, I'm like, really? Michael Morbius? I did not suspect he would actually show up in this book. It is quite shocking he showed up in this very book at all. Because he's a character I did not ever expect basically to appear in this book. And you might be thinking, okay, what did he do before this, you might ask? Good question. I mean, his last appearance prior to appearing in this issue here. Let's see. Was back in the Spider-Man Annual Volume Number 1. Yeah, it was one from Miles. That was his... well, that was his most recent appearance prior to this one. That came out in August of 2018. And this came out, I believe, the following... this came out just a few months later. You're thinking, really? Yes, really. After this sole appearance in this book, he next appeared in 1 issue of Avengers, 2 issues 2 and 3 and 4 of Lead the Predators, his own short-lived ongoing Morbius book, which was 5 issues, issue of Absolute Carnage, the Simulated Smart Alien Reality for a couple issues, had a one-shot, and of course, a few issues of Amazing Spider-Man. His last appearance to date being Amazing Spider-Man Volume 5, 92.BEY. And that was just last month. So at least he's still active per se. But it's weird though, the fact they actually included him here. And he's here for this sole issue. And you might be asking, Is this the first and only time that Gail Simone wrote Michael Morbius? Yes. Weird thing about Morbius and Domino. This is the first time these two have ever met. And yes, that's the weird thing about this. Like, it is so weird. The fact that when he reveals who he is, that he's Michael Morbius, everyone's like, really? Michael Morbius? The scientist? Yeah, apparently Domino had no idea that it was frickin' Morbius. Yeah, here he is. Here's Morbius, trapped in a frickin' box. Yeah, apparently, like, okay, apparently Diamondback didn't know that he was a vampire. Like, here's the thing. I would think Domino might know because she's basically interacting with Spider-Man. Yes, as for why he's here, don't know. He's here for issue 8, and that is it. Yeah, I'm not really sure exactly why in the world he's like only like just a sole appearance per se, but Carlos is unconscious, but yeah, it's weird though. Like he pops in for 2 issues. Yeah, and of course he bites Domino. Yes, he bites Domino. Yeah, and apparently the artist, yeah, gives him like multiple teeth, even though he looks like this. Yeah, that's his actual appearance. Why the heck he get multiple teeth? He bites her, and his plot. I thought you were pure human stock. Yeah, I thought you were sparkly Twilight Dash. Like, really, Gail Simone? You referenced Twilight? Yes. Basically, apparently, Domino read Twilight with this. Like, really? Are you really upset that a mutant saved your life? Forgive me, you are correct. I have shown 4 manners indeed. Morbius thanks you. That's not necessary. And he proceeds to kiss her hand. Because he's European. Of course. Despite that his mouth is full of blood. And there's a bloody lip print on her hand. And that's her blood. Yeah, it's weird though. And here's the thing. Morbius, look at this. Morbius, the living vampire, and he can walk in sunlight. You might be thinking, vampire, burn to a crisp. Nope. Because Morbius was created through science, not supernatural means. Yeah, and he's tried multiple times to cure himself. It doesn't last very long. Nope. But it's an absolute really good story here. It's odd that he doesn't show up again after this. Like, he next pop up in the issue of Avengers, and he does fewer things, and that's it. In the penultimate issue of the series, she goes looking for Longshot, a character who, just like her, has the same exact power set. Yes. Longshot. A character made his debut just a few years prior to she did. Yes. Her first appearance was back in X-Force number 8, back in the early 90s. Longshot made his debut back in the late 80s. In Longshot number 1 by Ann Nocenti. Yeah. Interesting they have this for her. Yeah. You know, I just realized, though, this has been going for like a half hour. Yeah. And basically you have Donald think, oh yeah, I met a couple times. Yeah, this is another case of like Morbius, where she's never met before. Yeah. And you're probably thinking, okay, when did Spider-Man meet Domino? Okay, there actually is an answer to that. Yeah, he actually first married during that brief crossover with X-Force. Well, a version of her anyways. But he has interacted a few times over the years, not much. Yeah, and then she teams up with him for the last 2 issues of the series, which is interesting. Yep. And I find this book to be so fun. Yep. Has a pretty good ending to it. And then we continue in the miniseries Hot Shots, which is the last thing we do for, well, Domino. Yeah. Really good book. I give this book a 9.5 out of 10. Final thoughts on... Get this out of here. Final thoughts on the short-lived Domino ongoing series. A really good book. Shocking, this book only lasted 10 issues. And you're thinking, was it canceled because of the pandemic? That happened in 2020. This was canceled in 2019. But the story will continue in the Domino Hot Shots miniseries. And that is it for the character solo-wise. Yes, some people are thinking, Domino can't hold a solo book. You read these issues, clearly she can. This book is so fun. Why did Marvel cancel this book? Yeah, this is another one of those books. I kind of felt this though. Marvel should not cancel this book because it's so good. I think Gail Simone herself does a great job writing Michael Morbius. It's a shame. Great book. Gets canceled 10 issues. And like I mentioned before when it came to the first trade, the only reason why the series was launched because of Deadpool 2. Yeah, that was literally the reason why. And you might be thinking, okay, after like this series wrapped up, like now you might be thinking, does Domino still wear this outfit? Yes, she does. Oh yeah, she does. Excuse me about that. Yeah, she still does. Yeah, and you probably think, okay, what has she done since her solo book ended? You might ask. Which is a good question. It'll take just a minute to do this. Let's see. Deathlock. I should do that one. Let's see. Okay, so yeah, appearing in this book while also appearing toward the end of the Weapon X series, and so after the series concluded, she of course had the Domino Hot Shots miniseries. She appeared in the relaunch of X-Force under Ed Bronson. She was there for all 10 issues, plus appearing in her ongoing miniseries. Currently, she appears in the current X-Force book by Ben Percy. She also concurrently appears in Wolverine, appeared in one issue, but mostly just appears in X-Force. Also appearing in Marauder, part of the X-Swords crossover. Appeared in a couple issues of the last non-Cable book, but mostly just appears in X-Force. Her appearances in Wolverine are just a couple at most. Her most recent appearance to date was in X-Force Volume 6, number 26. And that came out just, let's see, how long ago was that? About 3 weeks ago. 3? Yeah, about 3 weeks ago. And at least she's still around. Yep, she is still around today. Yep. I mean, I think it's great, though, she's active part of X-Force. Does she know the book now? Well, her part of X-Force makes total sense, because if you think about it, she's the only person there who was part of from the classic X-Force book. Because if you think about it, only her and Wolverine have experience being part of X-Force. The other members, they don't. People like Sage, Forge. Forge actually technically has some experience. He was part of Cable and X-Force. Beast and Kid Omega is interesting at best. Sage, I'm not really sure why they added her part of the group, but she did. Yeah. But not much else ABC trades. They're both good. Okay, so that's a particular view, and this is a long video, so I better basically end it here. Okay, next video. Bye.